And we are recording.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Nancy Isserlis, the chair of the Washington State Public Disclosure Commission, and I will be the presiding officer for today's hearing. I'm joined by our vice chair, Alan Hayward, who's going to handle at least one matter this morning because I have a conflict. Today's date is October 18th at 9:30 a.m. This hearing is being conducted under the authority of RCW 34.05, the Administrative Procedure Act, WACT 390-28, and RCW 4217A, the Campaign Disclosure and Contribution Act. The hearing is being held by teleconference through Microsoft Teams. These proceedings are video and audio recorded. Today we have a number of matters in brief enforcement hearings. The PDC staff have provided us with a written record for each case. Each respondent has had an opportunity to appear via Teams in this meeting by phone, or may submit a statement in writing and waive their right to appear. At this time, I'm going to ask the two staff members who will be presenting cases today, Jordan Campbell and Tabitha Townsend, to introduce themselves, and then I will swear them in.
Jordan Campbell, Compliance Coordinator.
Tabitha Townsend, Compliance Coordinator.
Tabitha and Jordan, if you would raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
At this point, I'm going to turn it over to one of you. I'm not sure who's going to do this, who'll give us a brief overview of the reporting requirements and a little information about how these hearings will be conducted today.
That will be me this time around. So today's brief adjudicative proceeding concerns annual officials whom PDC staff allege have violated RCW 4217A700 by failing to file or timely file a personal financial affairs statement disclosing financial activities for 2022 that was due to be filed with the PDC no later than April 17th, 2023. PDC staff emailed reminders to elected and appointed officials regarding their missing F1 reports for calendar year 2022 between March 9th, 2023 and April 28th, 2023. On May 19th, 2023, the PDC emailed and mailed warning letters to annual officials regarding their missing F1 reports disclosed in calendar year 2022 financial activities. On September 8th, 2023 and September 11th, 2023, respectively, PDC staff mailed and emailed hearing notices to annual officials regarding their missing F1 reports covering calendar year 2022, including the option to resolve their case by submitting the missing report online and mailing a signed statement of understanding and a $100 civil penalty for the late payment or the late filed report to the PDC postmarked no later than October 2nd, 2023. The resolved cases report for annual officials that is appended to the brief enforcement hearing case list shows the cases PDC staff resolved prior to today's hearing through an SOU or closed administratively. The remaining annual officials cases are grouped into categories on the brief enforcement hearing case list based on similar fact patterns.
All right, thank you, Jordan. The way we're going to handle these cases, we have a number of people who have joined us on Teams. We're going to do our best to pull those cases out and have them heard first, so bear with us because we weren't anticipating this number of people showing up this morning. What will happen is the compliance coordinator will present the case on behalf of the agency. Then I will swear you in individually when your case is called, and you can make any comments or raise any issues that you'd like to at that time. So, Tabitha, since you're driving the boat, let's start. Do we have Mr. Cirillo yet?
He has contacted and Kim is actually helping him. So let's
Why don't we
take,
move on to Mr. Valadez?
yes. Case number 141922. I will give my presentation and then you will unmute and be sworn in. Okay? So this is PDC case 141922 against Martin Valadez. Sorry. Staff is alleging that the respondent violated RCW 4217A 700 by failing to file or timely file the Personal Financial Affairs Statement PDC F1 form. The F1 report was due to be filed with the PDC no later than April 17th, 2023, disclosing financial activities for calendar year 2022. The respondent has filed the missing F1 report as of October 6th. There are no prior violations for the respondent within the past 5 years. The respondent is participating via Teams today, and staff is recommending that you find a violation of RCW 4217A 700 against Martin Valadez. Oh, sorry about the mispronunciation. For failing to timely file the F1 report and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37-143 for a filer with no prior violations who did file the F1 report by the date of the hearing and did participate in today's hearing. That base penalty for the violation would be $0 to $150, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you, Tabitha. Mr. Valadez, would you raise your right hand so I can swear you in? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you'll be giving today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Thank you for filing your F1 before today's hearing. What would you like to say in response to what staff has presented?
Nothing, just one thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here and also for giving me the opportunity to file my F1 before today and after April. So thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. It's clear from the record that the F1 was filed late, so I have to make a finding that it was filed late. The standard penalty range in this case is $0 to $150. I'm going to impose a fine of $100 and suspend all but 25 of that. And for this case and all other cases, if there is an imposition of a fine, the standard rules this is so I don't have to repeat it every time. The standard rule is that if there's a fine imposed and there is a portion that is suspended, the expectation is, and the order will say, that the non-suspended portion needs to be paid within 30 days. Mr. Valadez has already filed his report. There may be some folks today who have not yet filed their report, and it will require that all the report be filed within 30 days. If that doesn't occur, the non-suspended portion of the fine will come back, and it also standard language that the suspended portion, if there is any, will be suspended as long as there are no further violations within the next 4 years. Does that cover everything, Tabitha? So that
Yes,
we
it does.
can do
Yes.
it once instead of 45 times today?
Yes.
So, Mr. Valadez, thank you very much for filing your F1, and you'll be receiving some paperwork from the agency. Don't do anything until you receive the order, because we need to make sure that it all gets documented properly. So thank you very much for appearing today.
Thank you very much.
And on that note, just so everyone who's participating knows, We issue the orders within 30 days, and then you will have 30 days from the date that that order is issued to get the payment to us to uphold those suspensions. Okay? And you're allowed to drop off if you're done, or you're allowed to turn your camera off and hang out and listen to the rest. Okay, so pull this back up. I think Mr. Cirillo was supposed to be joining. Let me just see. I don't see that he has joined as of yet. So let's jump to Iris. And Iris also has someone with her, which is Jamal. So we'll be swearing both of them in once I give my presentation. Okay, Iris, make sure and stay muted until after my presentation, just for sound quality. Perfect.
Hello?
Hello?
I believe that's Mr. Cirillo. Mr.
Oh,
Cirillo,
okay.
you can remain on mute until we get to your case.
Okay,
And that'll be *6 if you're on the phone. And that's
all
how
right.
you
Should I
unmute
just
your.
should I stay on this line or should I go back to the other one? It seems like I have both lines, same number.
No, I would stay with this one. I don't see the other one joined in.
Okay,
So
you just want me to mute it?
Yeah, *6 will mute and unmute. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
no problem. Okay, this is PDC case 141888 against Iris. Is it Carius? The respondent.
Carías. Carías.
The respondent is an annual official, and staff is alleging that the respondent violated RCW 4217A-700 by failing to timely file the Personal Financial Affairs Statement, or F1 report. This F1 report was due to be filed no later than April 17th, 2023, disclosing financial activities for calendar year 2022. The respondent has filed the missing F1 report as of 10/10, so October 10th, and there is one prior violation with the PDC for case number 93963. That report was filed and the penalty was paid. The respondent is participating today, and staff recommends that you find a violation of RCW 4217A-700 against Iris Carius for failing to timely file the F1 report and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37-143 for a filer with one prior violation who did file the F1 report by the date of the hearing and is participating today. The base penalty amount for this violation is $150 to $300, and I am available for questions if you have any.
I don't. I may after we've received testimony from the respondent. Ms. Carías and Mr. Savage, if you're both going to testify, would you raise your right hand so I can swear you in? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you will be giving today would be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
All right. I don't know who wants to go first. I'll leave that up to the two of you.
If you let me, I can go first.
That would be fine.
Good morning. Thank you, Tabitha. It's very nice to meet you finally on the screen. I have been in touch with you in the past, and I'm gonna be humbly admitting my fault. I'm gonna claim myself guilty because I haven't responded in time all the emails and letters I've received in the mail. I don't want to be said it's okay to do it because, or excuse because I have a lot of things going on in my life. Like I've been working in the community with families, migrant families, and education, students, education at school. My job is not really hard, but it's a lot of volume in my job. And my job is outreach. Then I start my day at 7 o'clock in the morning and coming home at 9 o'clock at night. Believe me, I'm gonna excuse myself, but when I come home, I don't have time to sit in the computer and everything is behind in my life. And I'm gonna say Jamal has been part of my campaign. He was a treasure, but I did not inform him in time to help me to do this. I am really sorry, very sorry, and I please accept my apology for this issue, and I will accept to pay my penalty, whatever amount you give me, because I am accepting it's been my own fault. But humbly, please, please accept from me my apologies.
Your apology is accepted. I appreciate that very much. Mr. Savage, do you have anything to add on her behalf?
Yeah. As she said, I was her treasurer for her campaign this past time around. I've been involved in her campaign in the past, and I just wanted to say, she did come to me. She came to me a little late. I guess she suspected it was her responsibility to file her F1 reports, but just the overall confusion of it, I think, overwhelmed her until she finally did reach out to me to help, which is why the most recent filing was so late as well. I believe we finished last night or yesterday during the afternoon. We got together and we sat down at a coffee shop. So now that I'm actually aware of the issue, I believe there was a prior violation as well. I can promise you we won't be doing that again, as long as I'm involved. So I definitely wanted to speak my piece on that to Ms. Carrillas.
I really appreciate both of your comments. The most important thing is that it is filed. Maybe you can both put a tickler on your calendar for the 1st of April next year, because it's an annual filing requirement.
Yes, I did it already. I put it on my calendar already. I don't want to forget, and I'm going to inform Ms. Jamal in the beginning of the year, because I don't want to be in this position again. It's really embarrassed, but I'm saying again, my apologies from my bottom of my heart.
Well, and thank you for all the work that you do with in the community that you serve. It's very important. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
I spend a lot of time in the Skagit Valley. My youngest daughter lives there with her family and has children in your school district. So
thank you.
Very happy
Thank
to see that.
Okay.
It's clear from the testimony that there was a violation. The report was filed late. It was filed. This is a second violation, although I've been assured by
Yes.
Mr. Savage and Ms. Cuddias that there will be no further violations. And so I assume that the standard language and my admonition to make sure they get this on their calendar for next year will, I won't likely be seeing you again. So that's a good thing. The standard penalty for a second violation is $150 to $300. I will impose a fine of $150 and I will suspend all but $50. And thank you for the kind words that you had to say and for your service to the community.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it for all of you. And thank you for your assistance and letting us to be in this hearing. Thank you.
All right. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tabitha, you're muted.
Oof. So I just wanted to reiterate that, and I'll touch base with Jamal separately since they dropped off, but don't send payment for your penalties until you receive, oh, you're still here, until you receive the order so that it's in our accounting system. Okay. So, all right. And you're allowed to drop off, or you can hang out and listen to the rest of it. And Mr. Cirillo has joined. If you want to unmute yourself and check that mic one more time for me. It's *6 to unmute if you're on the phone. Mr. Cirillo?
Can you,
Oh,
yes,
there you
can
are.
you hear me?
Yes. Perfect. All right, I'll present and then you'll be sworn in, okay?
Okay,
This is PDC case 141912 against Rolando Cirillo, who is an annual official. The staff is alleging that the respondent violated RCW 4217A-700 by failing to timely file the Personal Financial Affairs Statement, or F1 report. This F1 report was due to be filed with the PDC no later than April 17th, 2023, disclosing financial activities for calendar year 2022. This missing report has been filed as of October 3rd. There are no prior violations with the PDC for this respondent. The respondent is participating in the hearing, and staff recommends that you find a violation of RCW 4217A against Rolando Cirillo for failing to timely file the F1 report and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37-143 for a filer with no prior violations who did file the F1 report by the date of the hearing and is participating today. This base penalty amount for the violation would be $0 to $150. I'm available for questions if you have any.
I don't, Mr. Cirillo. I need to swear you in. Would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you'll be giving today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
yes.
All right. What would you like to say in response to what staff has presented?
I'm a commissioner for Adams County, Park and Rec Commissioner. And whenever I'd go into file, I had the same problem last year and I couldn't remember how I got in, but it always goes to my wife. And then I can't do my filing. I'm not that good at the computer. Excuse me. I just stayed with it the last time here on the 3rd or week ago, and finally got it done. We're a park board commissioners without a park because we had a park that was 19 acres with no money to be able to have any kind of money to be able to operate the park. So it was 19 acres of dry land. So what we did was we sold the park to the city of Othello for $100 because they have the resources, the equipment, and the money, and the park is actually flourishing now. And there's all kinds of activities there, which is something we couldn't do when we would go to Adams County to try to get funds. They said that they were in the park business, that we'd have to raise our own money, and we'd just have a tough time doing that. So in turn, our board isn't really functioning because we don't have a park, and so it is my fault for not trying all the time, just because I have it in the back burner because the different things that I do. I'm also an ambassador for Fellowship of Christian Athletes for this area, and that keeps me pretty busy. So it's my fault. I just didn't pursue it long enough like I did this last time to finally get it filed.
Did I understand you correctly when you were testifying earlier that when you tried to do it, it kept going to your wife? Did I hear that?
Yeah, it kept going to my wife. She's registered under there. She is on the board for Othello Housing Authority, but she says she's never filed. They don't require them. She says she doesn't know why her name is on there because she's never filed before, and I don't think they're recommended to. But it would always go to her, and I couldn't get in. Finally, in fact, right now, if I told you how I got in, I can't tell you. but I know that I finally got it done here this last week, and I had trouble the year before too. And finally somebody on your side stayed with me while I did it and finally got in.
Okay.
This
Well, I'm glad
year I
we
did it
solved
on-
the problem. Kim Bradford, our housing authorities aren't, we don't regulate housing authorities, do we?
No, we don't. I'm guessing without having looked at the matter, but what I'm guessing based on the description is that he might be using a SAW, a secure access Washington account associated with his wife to access the
Okay.
system.
Okay, all right. I
Okay.
just want to make sure that there isn't some new glitch that we're not aware of that's
And
that
that's
prevented
the
him
only
from
thing that
getting
she's
in.
involved in.
Okay,
And
all
that,
right.
yeah, that's the only thing she's involved in. She can't figure out why her name comes up either because she's never filed.
Okay. Well, I think Ms. Bradford has answered the question for my purposes today. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't creating more problems for people than we need to. So,
Alan
so
has his hand up.
Alan?
Yes, hi, I'm Alan Hayward, the vice chair. Could you tell us when you gave the park to Othello?
To Othello, it's been this past year, was finally finalized this last February. They got the 19 acres. They also previously, 20 years before that, it was originally 20 acres, but they got 1 acre from the Park and Rec to be able to put a well in. They put the well in this last year. And since there was fresh water going to available for the park, or I don't know what kind of changes they've made, but it does have an irrigation water pond on it in the corner. But either way, we finally gave that park because the community deserves it, but we don't have the resources. We even tried to go looking for, grants and all that, and we were just having trouble trying to get a grant. And we're actually a new board, and I don't know how the boards did it 20 years previous to that, but the park showed it because it was just tall weeds and dead grass. The grass has come back now, the way grass does, and with the maintenance that the city's been putting into it, the park's amazing. And there's soccer games out there, there's flag football games out there, and it's being used by the community.
Thank you.
So you're a commissioner without a park.
I'm a commissioner, we are commissioners without a park, right?
Is there any intent to dissolve the park board as a result of not having a park?
We've been asked if we are going to dissolve it, but I don't really see any reason for us, even if we're not on the park board, let's say 5 years from now, I don't want to dissolve it, because if there's a different location of those, a growing community, and we have the same district as the Othello School District does. So if it turns out that they do want to put in a new county park one day, the park board will still exist, and it'd probably be new members and all that. Let's say 5 years from now, but at least it would still exist and it wouldn't have to reorganize.
All right. Well, I appreciate all the work that you do. The report was late, so I have to make a finding that it was filed late, and I appreciate your stick-to-itiveness and working with staff to get through the glitch involving your wife's account. The base penalty for a first-time offense is $0 to $150. I'm going to impose a fine of $100 and suspend all but 25.
So how much is the amount you cut out on me?
Pardon me?
I didn't hear the amount because you cut out on me.
Oh, sorry,
so it's
$100 fine, but I'm suspending all but $25.
Okay, so it's good. $25 fine then.
Yes.
Okay, I thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And good luck with the parks.
Yeah.
Parks and libraries are
find
my favorite things.
Same here, and that's why we gave the park up to the city, because we thought it's more important for the people to be able to have something to do there's several different parks in the town, but yet that serves a big neighborhood, and it's more important for the big people to be able to do something on there instead of have a park that we can't even find financing for.
All right, that concludes our meeting. You're free to jump off the call. Thank you very much.
Okay, bye.
Okay, and now we have a couple of people who have joined who we're gonna find on the agenda. So
Okay.
hopefully it won't be so confusing. Let's see. In order of the agenda, page 3, I have Jennifer Collins. Do you find her? She's at the bottom of the officials with no prior. Perfect. And so I will present, and then Ms. Collins, you will unmute and be sworn in, okay? So this is PDC case 141890 against Jennifer Collins, who is an annual official. Staff is alleging that the respondent violated RCW 4217A700 by failing to timely file the Personal Financial Affairs Statement, or F1 report. This F1 report was due to be filed with the PDC no later than April 17th, 2023, disclosing financial activities for calendar year 2022. The respondent has filed the missing report as of October 10th. There are no prior violations. She is participating today via Teams, and staff is recommending that you find a violation of RCW 4217A700 against Jennifer Collins for failing to timely file the F1 report and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37-143 for a filer with no prior violations, who has filed the F1 report by the date of the hearing and is participating today. The base penalty amount for this violation is $0 to $150, and I am available for questions.
No questions, Tabitha. Ms. Collins, let me swear you in. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you'll be giving today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
First, let me ask you a question. What's the name of your school district?
Adna School District. We're a little too.
Where is that?
Do you know where Chehalis, Washington is?
I do.
Well, I kind of make a little running joke that it's a suburb of Chehalis, if there were such a thing.
Okay. All right. I thought I knew all the school districts in Washington, so that's a new one to me.
Thank you. Yes, it's a wonderful place to live.
So what do you have to say in response to what Ms. Townsend has told us?
Well, I don't really have any excuses other than, of course, everybody has a really busy life. I have 7 boys, and they've all come through the Adna School District, and we're on our last one. I've got a couple in college right now, and I work for a local nonprofit. So I'm a one-man shop, and I did mark it in my calendar with 2 reminders and then notifications of the reminders to just keep myself on track. I find as I get older, I have to do that more and more. I love the work I do for Adna. This is my 3rd term as a school board member, and I'm very involved in our school district and on the board and in our community. And I humbly ask that and apologize for my violation. I'm 100% responsible for that.
I accept that apology and thank you for your frank comments. Every school district can always use good people like you who believe in the value of education. And congratulations on raising 7 boys. My goodness.
Well, you know,
that's a feat in and of itself.
you know, the hardest part was cooking enough food for those boys. They all were athletes and hungry all the time. And I believe in home cooked meals every night. That's the only time we can all be in one place most of the time together. So my grocery bill has shrunk unbelievably, but unfortunately, I still make massive amounts of food. So on accident.
Well, and on the assumption that you're going to continue to serve the school district, you know, make sure you pay attention to those reminders that pop up on your calendar so we don't have to see you again next year. I will find, thank you for filing your report. I will find that there was a violation. It was not timely filed. The base penalty is $0 to $150, and I will suspend all but 25 of that.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you
Chair
for joining
Isserlis?
us. Yes.
Just as clarification, did you want to do the penalty at the 150 with 125 suspended?
Oh, did I say it wrong? I meant to
Yeah.
say, yes, 125 suspended, all but 25
Yes.
suspended. Yes, sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Problem. Okay, so next up we have, I'm having to flip back and forth. Bear with me here. Looks like, is Mr. Stavig able to unmute himself? Perfect. Is your audio working? I know we've had some difficulty. If you could check your settings, which is under, if you're joined via Teams, there's a 3 dots and it says more. And if you go into settings, you can check your device settings and make sure that you're using the correct speakers and microphone. And while you get that figured out, Mr. Stavig, we'll go ahead and hear another matter and come back, okay? That brings us to C. Dale Slack.
Is that?
Perfect, thank you. I will present and then you'll be sworn in, okay? So this is, sorry, again, clicking through. Sorry. This is PDC case 141900 for C. Dale Slack, who is an annual official. And staff is alleging that the respondent violated RCW 4217A700 by failing to timely file the personal financial affairs statement. This F1 report was due to be filed with the PDC no later than April 17th, 2023, disclosing financial activities for calendar year 2022. The respondent has filed this missing F1 report as of October 9th. And there is one prior violation for PDC case 93969. Sorry. The respondent is participating in the hearing today. And let me look up that case for you before I get to the recommendation. Sorry for not being prepared here. So it looks like the penalty was not paid, but the filing was made on that prior case. And
what was the penalty on the prior case, Tabitha?
$150.
And when was the prior report filed?
I can find that for you really quick. Okay, so it looks like that report was filed in June of 2022. So it would have been after the notice, but before the hearing.
Okay. But just to confirm, the report was filed for the previous violation, but the penalty has not been paid.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And staff is recommending that you find a violation of RCW 4217A 700 against C. Dale Slack for failing to timely file the F1 report and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37-143 for a filer with one prior violation who has filed the F1 report by the date of the hearing and is participating. This base penalty is $150 to $300, which is different than the agenda because of the participation and the filing.
All right, Mr. Slack, let me swear you in. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you'll be giving today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do so swear.
All right.
I guess first of all, I'll just say I'm surprised. I thought I had sent in a check for that prior fine, and so I will very certainly send whatever I need to settle that. I'm kind of on the same page with I think everybody else who has been here today, being embarrassed and apologizing and kind of feeling horrible about this, and especially because I'm an attorney and very definitely should know what I'm doing. I know, Chair Isserlis, you have been city attorney for Spokane in the past, and so you know kind of every day that we come into these public attorney jobs is kind of a new whirlwind of things going on. I was going to say this has been a bad year, but frankly, it's been bad for a very long time. I don't have an excuse, but I do want to try and mitigate and explain some of the things that are going on. Last year, I lost, between October and December, I lost both of my deputies. And so from August until March of this year, I was doing the work of 2 deputies. And from December until March of this year, I was doing the work of 3 attorneys in my office. I had a lot of 18-hour days, some days that I slept in my office to get everything done. I finally did get 2 people hired by March of this year. It's been kind of playing catch up since that time, having 4 months of work piling up under me during that time was difficult. That also culminated in the fact that right now I'm going through a fairly nasty divorce proceeding. I've had to move out of my house, which is my address for purposes of the PDC issues, and I've moved essentially from a 3-bedroom house to a 1-bedroom apartment. I've got everything that I own in boxes, and so I'm kind of having a little bit of a rough time lately, and so I would just ask you to bear that in mind. I mean, I could tell you a whole bunch of sob stories, but I'm not going to do that. I was late filing it. I feel awful about it. My best friend describes me as a really good dentist with awful teeth. I'm very good at telling my clients what they need to do. I'm not so good at putting that into practice in my own personal life, and that's a character shortcoming that at 45 I hope I can work on and fix, but we'll see.
Well, I appreciate your comments. My mother always used to say the cobbler's children have the worst shoes in the neighborhood. So I guess I understand that. How long have you been the prosecutor in Columbia County?
What year is this? I think I took office in 2019. I was a deputy here from 2015 to 2019, and then from 2008 to 2015, I was the public defender here. So I'm kind of stuck in the maelstrom that is Columbia County.
So you've switched sides or switched stances, we say in the surfing business. Okay.
Yes.
And I understand the story you told about losing your deputies. I think everybody I know who is in any kind of public office, be it public defender, prosecutor, is having trouble finding people to fill positions. So the work doesn't go away just because the people aren't there. I do understand that. So I'm going to give you the same admonition that I've given others, is put this on your tickler system so that you get plenty of advance warning to make sure that this report gets filed. It's really important, I think, for people who are elected public officials. I tend to give a little more slack to people who are members of park boards and don't have parks, because they're not receiving any public funds as a salary. So I will find that there is a violation. This is the second violation. Thank you for thinking that you paid the penalty, but you haven't. So I'm going to make a little different ruling here than I have in previous cases. The report, when was the report? Has the report been filed, Tabitha?
Yes.
Okay, so the report's been filed. This is a second violation. I will impose the base penalty of $300. I will suspend $200 of that, leaving $100 to be paid, with the following conditions: that both the non-suspended portion of $100 plus the previous penalty of $150 be paid within 30 days from the date that you receive the order. And as Tabitha's explained, Tabitha, you're holding up your hand.
I just wanted to make sure you're aware the prior penalty has been sent to collections. And so it would need to be paid through collections and any fees that are owed to them. Sorry.
All right. So, and to the extent that, okay, so I'm going to impose, let me start over again. I'm going to impose the base penalty of $300. I will suspend $200.
Pardon me, Chair Schillis, just a correction here. So this, the report hasn't been filed. Sorry for interrupting.
Yes, it has.
Nope.
For Dale?
Sorry, pardon me. That's my bad. Sorry, I was thinking about Mr. Selvig. Pardon me.
Okay. All right. Let's rewind and start over. Let's start over here, because I want to make sure that we don't have any issues with the record. So as to Mr. Slack, base penalty of $300, I will suspend $200. The report has been filed for this hearing. I'll ask you, Mr. Slack, to coordinate with whoever is this your case, Tabitha?
I believe it is. So
only because we have a sort of a technical issue with the fine from this case, and the fine from the previous case now has been assigned to collection. I want to make sure that those two, that they have to be paid separately. So make sure that both of those fines get handled within 30 days from the date of the order. Yeah. And don't commit any further violations for the next 4 years. It looks like you might be having that job for a while down in Columbia County. So
nobody else wants it. So
the only thing I've read about Columbia County recently was the big wingding that you had with the library. So
I don't want to talk about that.
I'm sure you don't, but I don't often hear about news from Columbia County, but that made the rounds. So any other questions, Mr. Slack?
I'm assuming I can pay the past due fine right now because it's in a collections agency. But
yes, and Tabitha can provide with all that information. Yes.
Okay, yeah. And then I have to wait until I receive the letter to send anything for the next one.
Right. Correct.
Okay.
And I'll send you, Mr. Slack, I'll send you the collections agency information so you can contact them directly, okay?
Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
All right. Thank you. And
If I'm ever cruising through Dayton, I'll stop in and say hi.
oh, please do. We have a Keurig, so you can have any kind of coffee that we have available.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
And I believe Mr. Stavig may have joined via phone. Is that you at the 360 phone number?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
perfect.
Hey.
So I'm going to go ahead and present his case now.
What page number is that?
This one is on page number 5. In the top list there that says one prior failed to file.
Okay.
I see it.
Okay, perfect. So this is PDC case 141891 against James Stavig. The staff is alleging that the respondent violated RCW 4217A 700 by failing to file the personal financial affairs statement. The F1 report was due to be filed with the PDC no later than April 17th, 2023, disclosing financial activities for calendar year 2022. The respondent has failed to file the missing F1 report prior to today's hearing date. There is one prior violation for PDC case 94215. And I believe the penalty on that prior case was not paid, and sorry, I'm just looking for you.
It was paid. I did pay it.
The 94215. Okay. And the prior report involved in that case was filed. So the staff is recommending that you find a violation of RCW 4217A 700 against James Stavig for failing to file the F1 report and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390 37-143 for a filer with one prior violation who failed to file the F1 report by the date of the hearing and is participating. This base penalty would be $300 to $500, and the agenda here reflects the $500 as the base penalty, but with the participation today, it is $300 to $500. And I'm available for questions.
You're muted.
Sorry, my dogs were barking. Tabitha, I just want to confirm with you that the prior fine was paid.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Stavig, I can hear you, but I don't see you. I need to swear you in. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you'll be giving today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. What would you like to say?
Well, just like a lot of the other folks, this is kind of embarrassing here that it's come to this. I did try this to submit this stuff. I was getting some emails or whatever, and there was some kind of a hiccup in the system. I was trying to find the email. I want to say it was back in August that I was having a problem submitting, and I think someone was helping me, and I believe I got something that it was resolved, and I just didn't get back to it. Being a public official, I'm just a part-time city council person here in the city of Burlington. And, I stay busy with work and keeping up on all of the council stuff. And I guess when you sign up for public service, this is just part of the responsibility of doing that. And unfortunately, it's something that, I didn't get around to. I know I've had a prior one before, and I got fined for it, paid my penalty, and here I am again on this thing, and I want to apologize. I throw myself at the mercy of this group here and ask for forgiveness. And I did, since I was I don't know if I'm the last one here or not, but I did submit my stuff here, so it's submitted. I don't know if we can say it was submitted prior to my hearing here or not, because I just submitted it. But other than that, that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Tabitha, can you verify whether or not the report has been submitted?
Let me check the unverified queue. Give me one moment. I don't see it there. Someone could have verified it. Let me check.
Mr. Stavig, when do you think you submitted it?
I submitted it at 10/21. It says here your report number is 31760.
It did get verified. So it was verified while we were here.
Okay.
The hearing.
Wow. I like that. Okay.
Well, like I said, this is unfortunate, or I know that a few other council people, we talk about this PDC thing and how it's just, another responsibility that I gotta put on the calendar to make sure that I do it. So I'm sorry.
Well, your apologies accepted. The last time that I conducted these brief adjudicative hearings, I did so from the Burlington City Library, because that's where I was at the time, and they had a nice little room for me and great internet connection. So thank you for the service to the community.
Well, thank you.
All right, I will find, with 9 minutes to spare, the report was filed today, right before the hearing, and I'm glad that we checked, because that would have made a difference. Because you attended today and gave us some testimony, the base penalty range is $300 to $500. I will. How many years left do you have on your term? How many years left do you have on your term, Mr. Stavig?
I think I'm got 2 more years left. Two.
Okay.
More.
All right. Well, then let's try not to, let's not make it a 3-time offense here.
So no, heavens, no.
Get this on your calendar. I will. And we verified that the prior fine was paid. So what I will do is impose a fine of $300, and I will suspend $200 of that, and wait until you get the order, pay that, and stay out of trouble for the next 4 years, and you won't be hearing from us again.
Well, is there any way we can visit again, but not like this? I mean, maybe you come back to the library and visit.
Maybe I'll come back to, well, I spend a lot of time in Burlington. My daughter lives there, so.
Oh, okay. Very good. Very good.
But, and tell your fellow city council members to get it on their calendar as well, so that it's an important responsibility, particularly for elected officials. And so to the extent that you can all remind each other that the report's due in April, that would be wonderful.
Well, we have a council meeting tomorrow. Maybe I'll bring it up in my council comments prior to the meeting.
Wonderful. I think that's a great idea.
Okay.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye now.
Chair Isserlis, just for clarification, that penalty was 300 with 100 suspended or 200 suspended?
200 suspended, 100 not. I'll try to be more clear about that. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. I just want to make sure because we do have Tony doing recording for us, and so I just want to make sure we're clear.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So
But
we
you
are
know
done.
that this last hearing reminds me that there may be some really good ways to effectively communicate with city councils, and maybe if somebody has a little episode like this, to the extent that they can remind their city council fellows and maybe get it on a master calendar that the city maintains, so that notices come not just from the PDC, but it comes from their own internal calendars. That might help, help us not to have these hearings.
It'd be
Right.
helpful, like the Association of Counties, the Association of Cities can drive out to their own membership that in best practices would be to put onto your calendars of your members the F1 duty.
Particularly for people that are going to be serving for a few more years. I think that's a really good idea, Alan. Maybe that's something we can take up our next meeting and ask them to, if they, there's nothing better than a belt and suspenders approach on these things. And we all know that sometimes the emails from, go to, they're no longer in office and the emails go into some account that no one ever checks. So.
Okay, sorry, we have quite the agenda left. So I just want to keep us moving along. We have one written participant that I had sent to you. Did you have time to review that? Okay.
I did.
So I will present the case, and I can read the participation into the record.
I've read it. I've read it.
Perfect. Okay. So let me just present the case then. This is PDC case 141907 against Katie, I believe it's pronounced Clan, who is an annual official. The staff is alleging that the respondent violated RCW 4217A700 by failing to timely file the personal financial affairs statement. This report was due to be filed with the PDC no later than April 17th, 2023, disclosing financial activities for calendar year 2022. The respondent did file the missing F1 report on September 12th, and there are no prior violations for this respondent. There is written participation, which you have received and reviewed. Staff is recommending that you find a violation of RCW 4217A700 against Katie Clan for failing to timely file the F1 report and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37-143 for a filer with no prior violations who filed the F1 report prior to the date of the hearing and is participating in writing. The base penalty for this violation would be $0 to $150, and I'm available for questions.
I have read Ms. Clan's written submission. I find it to be pretty compelling, given the report that I'm going to find that there was a violation, and I am not going to impose a penalty at this time.
Okay. So $0 penalty across the board.
$0 penalty, but the same admonitions. Let's not see her again in 4 years.
Okay. So not that it's suspended, it's just, okay. Perfect.
0.
All right. And
I think it's finally my turn.
Yeah. I'm gonna mute.
Yeah, rest your voice for a bit, Tab. All right. So we're going to be moving on to officials with no prior violations who filed their F1 report before the hearing. And you mentioned, Chair Solicitor, there's a one you're going to be excusing yourself from. Could you let me know which one that is?
I will, just a second. Do we have any other participants who are appearing today?
No.
Okay, I just see a bunch. I see people on the line. I just wanted to make sure they weren't. Okay.
We do have Natalie Johnson, who is staff, who's observing, and we have a reporter observing.
Okay, all right. I just didn't recognize some of the names. So the case that I need to recuse myself on is Regina Malvo, case 141913.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure because we're going to need to pop that one out. So we'll do a separate presentation for that one. So since Commissioner Hayward will be ruling on that. So we're going to do officials with no prior violations who filed the F1 report before the hearing. This is going to be PDC cases 141918, Greg Spurgeon, 141930, Kiara Ann Ryan, and 141906, Varisha Khan. Staff is alleging that these respondents violated RCW 4217A700 by failing to timely file a personal financial affairs statement, which was due no later than April 17, 2023, disclosing financial activities for calendar year 2022. These respondents all filed their reports, and we do have the report file date on the case list. None of them have prior violations, and they did not respond to the hearing notice or provide any written testimony for us today. Staff recommends you find a violation of RCW 4217A700 against these respondents for failing to timely file the F1 report and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37-143 for filers with no prior violations who failed to timely file the F1 report by the date of the hearing. In this case, the base penalty would be $150. I'm available if you have any questions.
I don't have any questions as to those three cases which you've put forward. I will find that as to each, there is a violation for failure to file. The reports have been filed according to the docket report today, so I appreciate that. The base penalty for each of these cases is $150 because these folks have not appeared at the hearing. I will suspend $100 of the fine on the condition that they pay the penalty within 30 days of the receipt of the order.
All right. So we're going to move on to our next section, which would be officials with no prior violations who failed to file the F1 report before the date of the hearing. Just one moment here. So this is going to be PDC cases, and we're going to talk for a minute. 141920, Adam Lloyd Wynn. 141937, Ben Kalis. 141932, Dennis Townsend. 141925, John C. Simmons. Simons. 141924, Catherine Thomas. 141911, Leanne K. Robinson. 141933, Munar Khan. 141909, Marvin Sundstrom. 141928, Samuel Gutierrez. 141926, Sarah Althauser. 141908, Tuckle Gabina. 141935, AJ Titley. 141914, Travis Benjamin Franklin. 141917, Victor Hogan. 141927, Yoshinka Harden. 141877, Robert Callahan. 141879, Marlon Freiberg Jr., 141904, George Paul Golovin, 141884, Scott Jones, 141896, Nicholas Henderson, 141897, Laura Rindau, 141886, Robert Poindexter, 141880, Stephen Ellis, 141894, Tyler Bird, 141887, Tal Weberg. Staff is alleging that these respondents violated RCW 4217A 700 by failing to file the personal financial affairs statement that was due no later than April 17, 2023, disclosing financial activities for calendar year 2022. None of these respondents filed their reports prior to today's hearing, and they also have no prior violations and did not respond to the hearing notice or provide any written testimony to staff. Staff recommends you find a violation of RCW 4217A 700 against these respondents for failing to file the F1 report and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37-143 for a filer with no prior violations who failed to file the report by the day of the hearing. In this case, that penalty amount would be $250. If you have any questions.
I don't have any questions. I find as to each of those cases that the respondent has failed to file the F1 report, was not filed as of the date of the hearing. The base penalty for each of those will be $250, and I will suspend $100 of that for each, on the condition that they pay the fine, the non-suspended portion, and get their F1 report filed, more importantly.
Excellent. All right, so we are going to move to 141913, Regina Mulview. Staff is alleging that this respondent violated RCW 4217A 700 by failing to file the personal financial affairs statement that was due no later than April 17th, 2023, disclosing financial activities for calendar year 2022. This report has not been filed, and they have no prior violations. In addition, they did not respond to the hearing notice or provide any written testimony to staff. Staff recommends you find a violation of RCW 4217A 700 against Regina Mulview for failing to file the F1 report and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390-37-143 for a filer with no prior violations who failed to file the report by the day of the hearing. The base penalty in this case would be $250. I'm available if you have any questions.
I don't have any questions.
All right.
Yeah, she's not here.
She's not attending, nor has she provided any written information for us to give to you.
Yeah, thank you. And just for the record, this is Alan Hayward, the vice chair, hearing this case. And I will find a violation. I will assess a penalty of $250, suspending $100 for making a penalty then of $150, plus the requirement that within 30 days the necessary filing be made and that the penalty be paid, and for continuing no violations for 4 years. I believe that's the way that works.
Yep, that's how we do it. All right, thank you so much.
All right, back to me. We already heard the next section, which was C. Dale Slack. So we're moving on to officials with one prior violation who failed to file, which is on page 5. So the following respondents and PDC case numbers will be heard as a group. So this is PDC case 141885 against Daryl Norris. 141901 against Jennifer Hauser. 141892 Leanna Krotzer. Hope I said that right. 141902 Kyle Steinberg. And 139868 Harrison Ralstone. These are all annual officials, and staff is alleging that these respondents violated RCW 4217A700 by failing to file the Personal Financial Affairs Statement, or F1 report. The F1 reports were due to be filed with the PDC no later than April 17th, 2023, disclosing financial activities for calendar year 2022. The F1 reports have not been filed prior to the date of this hearing. There are one prior violation per case. These respondents are not participating and have not provided any written participation. Before I give recommendations, did you want me to discuss the prior cases at all?
I'd like to know for each if the reports were filed and if a penalty was imposed, has it been paid?
Okay, I have that on my list here. So for Daryl Norris, we have one prior violation, which is 80232, which was resolved through an SOU. So that means that the report was filed and there was a $100 penalty.
And that was paid?
Yes.
Okay.
And Jennifer Hauser has one prior, which is 110477. The penalty was paid and the F1 was filed in August of 2022, which was after the notice was issued. Let's see, Leanna Krotzer is one prior case, 95107. The penalty was paid. And give me one moment here to pull up this case. And I'm pulling it up because I believe this might not count as a prior for an F1 if it was against the person for a C1. So the penalty was paid and the C1 was filed. It was not an F1, so that technically is not a prior for an F1. So I do apologize about that. That penalty then would be the $250, or sorry, it would be the, yes, $250 because there is no prior. Sorry about that. Kyle Steinberg is one prior case, 94217. The penalty was paid and the F1 was filed. Harrison Ralstone, 39, where are you at? There he is. So the one prior was case number 102549. The F1 was filed and the penalty was not paid.
What was the penalty?
The penalty was that one. Sorry. 549. The penalty was $250, and that was sent to collections.
Okay. Anything else, Tabitha?
No, other than we'll need to pull out Leanna Krotzer as
Yeah, I've made a note on that.
okay, good.
Okay,
Have you done
so
Harrison, excuse me, have you done Harrison Ralston? I thought you were just doing Kyle. No, you did, which one did
Ralston
you
was
just-
the last one.
Oh, okay. Alrighty, I have it wrong. Thanks.
There's 5, because we already did Mr. Staubig.
Yeah, that's right. I put him. Okay, my notes went to the wrong person.
All right, so as to, I'm not as to Ms. or Mr. Norris, I don't know whether, as to Norris, Ms. Hauser, and Mr. Steinberg. So Norris, Hauser, and Steinberg, those, they've paid their fine. They all have one prior. So their facts are similar. As to each of those cases, I will impose, this is a second violation for each of them. I will impose the base penalty of $500 and suspend $250 of that with the normal admonitions in the order. As to Mr. Harrison Ralston, this is a second violation. The previous report was filed, but the penalty of $250 imposed in that case has not been paid and it's been sent to collection. In this case, 139868, I will impose a base penalty of $500 and suspend $200 of that if the current report gets filed, the non-suspended portion is paid, and he pays the amount of $250 that's been sent to collection. And then as to Leanna Krotzer, she should not have been on this list. She had a previous violation, but it was a C1 violation, which still isn't good, but she doesn't have a prior F1 violation. So and she paid the prior fine, Tabitha. I just want to make sure I'm correct on that. Oh, she has no outstanding fines. Okay. I will impose a base penalty of $500 and I will suspend $300. Sorry, strike that.
Yeah.
$250, strike that. All right, sorry. Let's start over again. As to Ms. Krotzer, I will impose a penalty of $250 and suspend $100 to encourage her to get this F1 filed. And I think that takes care of those 5 cases.
Yes, it does. Thank you. Sorry for the confusion there.
And I did notice after her name, there's an asterisk. Is that what the asterisk was for?
No, that's in the jurisdiction.
Okay.
And that just means that there's multiple counties in that school district.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure that that wasn't a signal to me about something.
No, if we put the asterisk after the name, that could mean something, but those in the jurisdictions means that there's multiple counties involved with their voter count.
Okay.
Tabitha, question. When someone is on this hearing and has had a prior violation, is it safe for the chair and vice chair to assume that their prior report associated with the prior violation has been filed, because otherwise they would have automatically gone to full hearing?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Before you go on, can I ask on the case of Kyle Steinberg 141902, how that was resolved?
Steinberg, let me pull that back up.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
I know.
the same list we were just on, 141902, Kyle Steinberg.
So that was 94215. That was resolved by filing and paying the suspended penalty within the 30 days.
Okay, but today what happened today?
He was one of the group
Oh.
of three. It was Norris, Hauser, and Steinberg. I imposed the base penalty. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think I suspended half.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, I just didn't carry it down. Okay, got it now. Thank you.
Okay. And then we have one last section. And this is an official who is also a candidate. So that's why they're broken out from the group. Let me pull up my script again. And this is PDC case 141878 against Robert Rorick, who is an annual official and a candidate in 2023. The F1 report was, the staff is alleging that the respondent violated RCW 4217A 700 by failing to timely file the Personal Financial Affairs Statement, or F1 report. This report was due to be filed with the PDC no later than April 17th, 2023, disclosing financial activities for calendar year 2022. This respondent has filed the missing report as of September 12th, and there is one prior violation. The respondent has not provided written testimony or joined the hearing today. I can give you specifics on the prior if you would like, prior to giving my recommendation.
If you just let me know what the penalty was.
Yes. So it was $1,000 for PDC case 10225. The report was filed, but no penalty paid.
What was the date? 1,000. That seems awfully high.
There are cases that are outside of the statute of limitations, which drops it down to only one prior at this point. So there were prior cases that cannot be considered here today.
The 1,000 hasn't been sent to collections or anything?
It has been sent to collections.
Okay.
Okay, so what I'm understanding you saying is there are a number of prior cases, but they're aged and outside the statute of limitation, and there's
Correct.
one prior violation within the statute of limitations.
Correct. And so the base penalty here is lower than the previous penalty because of the number of priors.
Can you tell me how many priors there were?
Yes. Let me pull him up by name. So it looks like two that have fallen off for the statute of limitations. And then we have the one which remains within statute of limitations and can be factored in today.
Okay, but so this is the fourth time. And I know I can't consider the ones that are aged out, but this is the fourth occasion for which an F1 has not been filed.
Correct.
Okay.
And so staff recommends that you find a violation of RCW 4217A 700 against Robert Rorick for failing to timely file the F1 report and assess an appropriate penalty in accordance with WAC 390, 37, 143 with a filer with one prior violation who filed the F1 report by the date of the hearing and is not participating in the hearing. This base penalty is $300. And I'm available for questions.
As to Mr. Rorick, I guess that's how I would pronounce it, I will find that there's a violation and I'll impose the base penalty of $300 and I'll suspend 25 of that.
Okay.
On the
Perfect.
condition that he pays everything he owes.
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. And so that brings us to the end of the agenda. And if you want, I can stop recording once you adjourn.
If there's no further business to come before the group today, I will adjourn the meeting. It's 11:03.
Perfect, with time to spare.